So I have actually been fascinated by red light therapy for a while now, and it has actually been a part of my daily rhythm for probably a few years now. So typically for me in the mornings, I usually actually have it on my belly or sometimes in the evenings too, because I've dealt with gut issues, for probably 10 years, but I manage them now. And I think red light therapy has been a huge, huge help in that. I also usually put it on my neck and chest for about 20 minutes each. And then a lot of times in the afternoons, I love just relaxing with a face mask. It's one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes I actually have it in the sauna. So I'm curious to hear our founder's story today on what his thoughts are in the sauna or not. And he can kind of debunk any of my routines. But so it's one of my favorite things just to kind of wind down. There's so many benefits to it. And there's so many out there too. So today we have an incredible guest with us. His products are inside Life Market, but he has a hydrogen water bottle. I have it here today, Scott. And I use it every day, all the time. And it's great because it's small and I can travel with it too. So we want to make sure that we can focus, on kind of debunking some of the myths that might be out there with red light. So I'm so glad that Scott is here with us today just to cut through the noise with transparency and science, but also give us some real practical guidance on how to make red light one of the most powerful wellness tools that we can use in our homes. So welcome to the Life Lounge podcast. This is your front row seat to everything happening inside Life Network. I'm your host, Karie Johnson, and each week we bring you top voices, transformational brands, and insider updates you don't want to miss. This is where self-transformation meets community, because when we grow together, we grow farther. So let's dive in. So Scott Chaverri. Scott, make sure I'm pronouncing your last name correct, please.
Chaverri.
Chaverri. Okay.
You got it.
So
Good enough.
Awesome. I love it. So he is the founder and CEO of MitoRedLight and he's the leading company with the red light therapy industry focused on enhancing holistic wellness. Scott has a BA in psychology from Cornell University, an MBA in finance from Simon School of Business, and Scott has built his career across Fortune 500 companies spanning medical devices, financial services, and e-commerce before tuning his focus fully into health and wellness. So after facing his own personal health challenges, he developed a deep passion for optimizing performance and extending health spans through science-backed tools. His vision is to build MitoRedLight into an eminent wellness brand known for quality, transparency, and customer empowerment. Today, the company is trusted worldwide for making red light therapy both accessible and educational. And Scott's here to share why light just might be one of the most overlooked healing tools of our time. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that great introduction.
Oh, I am just grateful to have you here today and just learn from your wisdom. You had quite the career: psychology, finance, Fortune 500 leadership. Can you share kind of the turning point that shifted you from corporate to health and wellness?
Sure. So I would say that I've always been interested. I've been a biohacker at heart for 30 years,
Love
even
it.
going back to my teenage years when I struggled with acne and had trouble getting solutions. And so this is pre-internet, right? So I just had to find my own solutions, struggle through. And then in my 20s, I struggled with insomnia. I lived on the alcohol, caffeine seesaw, like a lot of people do, and so I just had poor energy levels, just couldn't perform at work, and my career suffered. And so, those struggles lead you to find solutions. And so I became an avid reader of all things health and wellness, biohacking before it was even a term. And then probably about 10 years ago, I stumbled upon red light. I was about to turn 40, and I was concerned about testosterone, actually. And actually, a well-known biohacker who's part of the Life Network wrote an article in Men's Health about red light and testosterone. And I said, well, why not try it? And so I tried it, and in full transparency, it didn't do anything for my testosterone, but I noticed that I just felt better. I had my mood was better. I was sleeping better. And at the time, I was going through a very difficult time. My son, in 2016, my 2-year-old son was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it was a brutal couple of years dealing with that, and caregiver, for anybody that's dealt with anything like that, caregiver fatigue is just overwhelming. And so anything I could do to just feel better and deal with that stress and trauma, I was trying to figure out. And it turns out that red light actually really helped me in 2017, 2018, as I was going through that. And so we got through the period with my son. I mean, he's doing great now. He's 11 and he's healthy and he's a happy, normal
Good.
kid. And I'm so grateful
That's
for that.
great.
But that 2 year period from mid 2016 to mid 2018 was very, very stressful, and really was a turning point for me too, where I just decided that, what, and it's just, we say this all the time, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. But when your 2-year-old son is fighting for his life, like, it really hits home. And so I decided that I just didn't wanna spend the rest of my time doing something that I wasn't super passionate about, and so I was at a good career in
Yeah.
corporate finance, and, certainly I'm thankful for the opportunities that I had, but I wanted to do something different and something that I had more passion around. And so since the red light was helping me, and then I realized that there was white space in the market, that was really kind of the confluence of events that sparked me to start the company.
That's wow. Founder stories are always like the most inspirational to hear, and there's always like a pain to purpose story. And but yeah, just really kind of focusing on like what really matters and like where do I want to spend my time. And like it's you already noticed the own benefits yourself, but then like why waste any other day focusing on anything else that doesn't really matter. I'm so glad that your son is doing better. You said he's 10 now.
11, just turned 11.
11. Oh my gosh, that's such a funny age. I have a 8-year-old, 16 and 20. So yeah, it's fun. Parenting is fun. But yeah, caregiving a sick child, anybody, yeah, that takes it out a toll on that caregiver for sure. So you saw did you see kind of some gaps in the red light therapy market that inspired you to launch your own line?
Yes, at the time, going back, there was really only one company in the space that was building, high quality panels, and they were very expensive. And I was actually, the genesis story is that I was just going to buy more lights for myself because I was spending a lot of time spinning around and, you know, uh, trying to treat my whole body. And I just had sticker shock in terms of the pricing. And I just wondered if we could build a high quality device for lower cost. And so we prototyped for 6 months, and then we actually launched the company with just 3 products. They were very basic, and it was just no frills, a lot of light, which is, what you want. But now obviously we've been doing this 7 years and our product portfolio has expanded quite a bit. But that was really the origin story, was just solving my own problem, which again is a very, the paint to purpose story is very common, but also just solving, an entrepreneur solving their own problems, also a very
Yeah,
common story. And I
right.
just didn't want to spend that much money on these things. And so that was really the origin of it.
That's incredible. Yeah, your product line is very extensive now, so it's really exciting. And then we'll definitely we're going to tease a few new things that he has coming up too soon. So make sure we'll talk about those in just a bit. But so yeah, affordability, because I do remember that one kind of red light was kind of becoming more buzzworthy, and people were putting these in your home in their homes, and you look at the price tag, you're like, what? Like, there's no way. So having that as kind of like a non-negotiable for your company, affordability and accessibility is huge for so many people, and then more and more people can have access in their homes. And like I almost think like, and I know the benefits of red light therapy myself, but like what if every single person in, the nation, the world could have like some kind of red light therapy device? Like what can you imagine like just how good our world would be?
That's the goal. Really, the goal, I think my
Oh,
my stretch goal, and my futuristic vision is that we'll have light pods in our home that scan our body, do real-time diagnostics, and give us the wavelengths of light we need in that moment. That's the futuristic version that I'd like to get to. Because, well, and I also like to get to where we build architecture where we're getting more natural light, and so we're not as deficient in sunlight, which is part of the reason why, in my opinion, why we need red light is because we're spending so much time indoors. So a combination of changing how we build buildings, changing the interior lighting in the buildings, and then also just making the light products more accessible. All three of those things, I'm working on actually.
oh my gosh, I cannot wait. That's so cool. I love seeing the vision of entrepreneurs too. And it's just, yeah, that's big, but that could be a reality. Like things are changing so fast for us, and that'll be a very different world. And I would definitely love to live in that one. It'd be much better. So then now that you have kind of like made that big shift, and constantly adding new products to your line, how does that feel for you now? Like really feeling that more just purposeful hole that you had before, thousands of homes have your devices, practitioners use your devices. How does that feel now, Scott?
Oh gosh, incredibly humbling, to be honest. I mean, I started this in such a modest way with just 3 products. And so now I think we're at 105,000 lifetime customers. Our product portfolio is very diverse, and I'm very proud of every product. We're very mindful in how we add products, and the quality has to be there, and the gap in the market has to be there. I won't launch a product unless I feel like we're solving a problem that's not being solved.
Very true.
And then to just have professional athletes and celebrities and the best biohackers in the world, and clinicians, chiropractors, massage therapists, you name it, using our products is extremely humbling. And so I take it as a responsibility to continue to improve and continue to innovate. And so that's what we're working to do.
Gosh. Yeah, and I love that you're like, I'm not just going to add something just to add something, add another SKU. Like you're actually like, there needs to be a purpose behind it. That's very smart. Very, very smart. So can you break it down just a little bit? Like the science for the people who do not have red light at their home, or they're like, they've heard kind of, they've been following an influencer on Instagram. They're like, see them use these devices, or like, it looks cool, but what is it? Like, what's the science behind it? But break it down, like the mitochondria, the ATP, circadian rhythm. Break that down for us.
Sure. I usually like to break it into the macro and the micro. And I do think a big part of the macro story is that our lifestyle has changed so much from how our ancestors, even just 150 years ago and before, lived, where they were outside all day long, and they were getting sunlight all day long, and they were getting these beneficial wavelengths of light all day long. So there's two important things to understand about sunlight is that 54% of the energy is infrared. 39% is is visible light that we can see, and only 7% is ultraviolet, UVA, UVB that you need for vitamin D. But more than half of the energy is infrared. And the second thing that's important to understand is that anytime the sun is above the horizon, you're getting infrared light. You may not be getting UV, and oftentimes you're not. In the winter, in northern latitudes, you're not getting any UV, which is why you can't make vitamin D that time of year. But you're always getting infrared. And so now we've moved in where the EPA did a study 20 years ago where they estimated that the average human in the Western world spends about 93% of their time indoors. And so whereas our ancestors were getting bathed in infrared light all day long, we are massively deficient, in my opinion, because of our modern lifestyle. So that's like the macro story. And it's like, why should you get an LED light that puts out red and near infrared light? I would say because you're deficient, and so supplementing makes sense. Now, if you're part of the Hadza tribe and you're a hunter-gatherer and you're outside all day long, I don't know that a light like ours is really going to benefit you all that much, to be honest.
Right. Right.
Maybe if you had an injury and an acute issue, it might help heal it a little bit faster. But other than that, you probably don't need it. But the reality is that we're all spending time indoors in front of computer screens, et cetera. And so I would argue that you're severely deficient in infrared light, which is super important. Why is it important? That gets to the micro story.
Okay.
It's the mitochondria, it's energy production. So there's several mechanisms of action, but the primary one that's most discussed is that has to do with a chromophore, which is a light absorbing molecule inside the mitochondria called cytochrome C oxidase. And so essentially at the fourth stage of cellular respiration or cellular energy production, cytochrome C oxidase needs to bind with oxygen to finish making ATP. And so what happens when these wavelengths of light, they penetrate into the body, they essentially, they literally vibrate apart cytochrome C oxidase and nitric oxide. Because essentially cytochrome C is, and nitric oxide and oxygen are competing to bind with cytochrome C. And so if you've got cytochrome C bound with nitric oxide, these wavelengths come in, they literally vibrate those two apart. So you have more free floating cytochrome C to bind with oxygen to make ATP. So that's the understanding of how it works. And so what we see is an increase in cellular energy production, ATP, and we also see an increase in nitric oxide, which makes sense. And so the bottom line is if your cells have more energy, they function better. And so the bigger part of that story is that any cell that has mitochondria has the potential to benefit from exposure to these wavelengths of light. And that's pretty much every cell in your body except for red blood cells.
Okay, that's super helpful. And it's yeah, I love how you break the to have the macro and the micro just to kind of like, yes, this is how it's supposed to be, but we need to supplement it. But to really understand like why, what's the purpose of this? And because it is very prevalent nowadays, which is great. So, but some people don't really understand why they're doing this. So, but so then is there any specific case studies that you can think of, like a client that stands out to you that that they notice some improvement in, whether it's, acne or energy or anything like that?
Well, acne for sure. We've got some great. So this is what's exciting about light in general is that our core competency is red and near infrared light, but there's different parts of the spectrum that can be used for different purposes. So acne blue light is so we do have a mask which we launched, which is, and again, and because acne is such a problem for me as a teenager, I'm so thankful that I could be at a point in life where I could put out a product that has blue and red light that legitimately helps with acne. And
Mhm.
it's a 1-2 punch because the blue light kills the acne causing bacteria and the red light helps modulate inflammation, right? Because acne at the end of the day is
It's
inflammatory.
inflammation.
So if
Yeah.
you can knock down that bacteria, the problem with a lot of the like the benzoyl peroxides and the salicylic acids, they may kill the bacteria, but they can add to the inflammation. So it's not an ideal solution in my view. So what you want to do is knock down the bacteria that are part of the problem, but also reduce the inflammation. And if you could do those two things, which blue and red light can do, it can be a magical 1-2 punch for acne. So we've really got some really good testimonials, and we're actually launching a new mask, which is the mask we have now is good. I mean, it works, and I like it, but we're launching a. We've been working on this for a year and a half, a much better mask
Mm.
that just solves for a lot of the problems with the masks. One of them
Yeah.
being that most of the masks that are on the market, they sit right on the face, and anybody that's ever struggled with acne doesn't like to put stuff on their face because they worry
True.
about clogging pores and creating more acne. So,
Yeah.
so ours hovers above the face, so it's much
Oh,
more hygienic,
okay.
and it has true blackout eye protection. And it's got 4 wavelengths, and it's got a patent pending design where we can do under the chin as well. So,
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
actually very excited about that. It's coming out probably in the early November.
Oh, that's exciting. So definitely let us know. We'll make sure that we can help promote that for you too. So I'm excited. That sounds amazing,
Thank you.
especially to have that neck part too.
Yes, it's funny because this is very important. I mean, I know I just turned 50 and gravity gets you, I mean, it
Yeah,
just, and so why wouldn't you want to treat under there? And so
exactly.
we have a design where these things pivot out and you can get that area and it's built
That's so
right into the
cool.
mask.
Yeah, and it's just like you don't even have to think about it because it's already there. Yeah, I'm 45 too, so it's like it just happens. Gravity's a fact of life. But yeah, why not? Why not add to help that area? I love it. Okay, so then if somebody is brand new, where should they start? Like product of yours would you recommend? Like if they're just gonna pick one or three, what would be your
So
first?
I honestly, I grabbed this. I really like
The panel.
these desktops, and the main
Yes.
reason. So I know that the masks are popular and they are very convenient. You can just put them on, you can watch TV, you can surf on your phone or whatever. But these panels like this, they're so durable and it will last properly cared for will last many, many years. And it's also much more versatile. So obviously you can use it on your face and your neck, but you can also use it all over the body, your lower back, you got an issue with your knee. And so I really like the panels for their durability and their versatility. I mean, again, we warranty them for 3 years, but if you take care of it, the LEDs will last pretty much forever. Like the
That's
LEDs,
amazing.
that's one of the things why we're moving toward LEDs in the ambient lighting space. And that's a whole nother discussion because the wavelengths we're using are not the best for our biology, but they are super energy efficient and they do last forever. So there's a reason why we're doing that. Uh, but the panels they're much more versatile and they will last a long time. So if you were only going to get one device, I would recommend getting a panel.
Okay, that's good. And just keep it by your desk if you're working from home like me.
Right, and just take a break and do 10 minutes, or I would say get the largest panel you can within your budget because again, I my
Gotcha.
my argument is we're very deficient. And so, if you can get a larger body panel and hang it on the back of your bedroom door and shine it on more surface area of the body, I think that you'll be better off.
Okay, that's good. Good advice. Okay, so then that would be number 1. What's number 2?
So Well, we do have portable devices too, and so the nice thing about the portable, I don't have one handy, but they're handhelds. Actually, I've got one over here.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this one's charged,
Oh, yeah,
but
that's
these you
perfect.
can these things. This thing actually packs a punch, and so the nice thing about it is, you travel with it. You never have to be without your red and near infrared light. Sometimes I sit on the couch. I have a busy day. I don't get my light in, but I want to spend time with the kids, and I'll break out the portable and I'll just use it around my body and sometimes right on my body. Sometimes I'll put it on my head and try to get my hair to go back a little bit. And so I like this just because it's just super easy to use. And you can kind of multitask. Like, so I'm watching TV, spending time with the kids, and I'm also getting my red light in. And this thing, I'm very proud of this particular design. This is the Mito Pro Mobile. It puts out a lot of light. And
Okay.
so it's small but mighty.
Yeah. I need to get that one. I have a couple trips coming up. I'm heading to London for the Health Optimization Summit. So I'm like, that would be I could maybe bring that there.
Awesome, awesome. We'll make sure we get you one.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Okay, so that's number 2. Then what would be number 3?
So we do have, again, we've expanded different form factors. So we do have a mat and a pod. And the pod, so the downside of the flexible devices like the mat and the pod we have is that they're just not as durable as a panel, right? I mean, you're laying right on the LEDs, so they're
Yeah,
going to wear down.
true.
We warranty those for a year, but they are super convenient and also like they're extremely relaxing way to do red light. So I have a pod under my bed. And again, sometimes if I don't get my full body session in, we have a bed here and at my house I have a front and back full body setup. But if for whatever reason I can't get that done during the day, I'll take the pod out from underneath my bed and I'll just lay in it. And it's a very relaxing, soothing way to get your infrared light into the body.
That's
Um,
nice.
and and so again, so there's pros and cons. Again, it's not going to be nearly as durable as a panel,
True.
but super convenient and definitely because you're laying down, a super relaxing way to do it. So proud of those products too. And we've got a lot of famous celebrities that actually love the pod for some reason. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's incredible. That's so can you bust a myth then? Is red light stimulating or relaxing?
that's interesting. It's sort of both. I mean, it depends, right? So and actually we get different feedback. So I actually find it when I do it in the morning that I drink less coffee.
Mm,
So for me, it is helping me wake up,
that's
right?
good.
And that's kind of logical. Like normally we'd go out in the sun and early morning, the bright light wakes you up. I mean, it is bright light, but it's long wavelength light. It's not the blue light. So, but it can be stimulating. The pod, you're not getting it in your eyes, and so you're just getting it to the body. And there is this idea that infrared light increases extrapineal melatonin production, which is why it helps sleep. So, to the extent that the infrared light's going into the cells, the short Cliff Notes version of this is it's going into the cells, it's increasing ATP production. There's no free lunch of biological systems. So, you have an increase in oxidative stress, right? But you also, and actually, nitric oxide is actually it's an oxidant, right? Nitric oxide. So, you've got oxidative stress. So, your body increases its anti inflammatory and antioxidant pathways, one of them, the key one being melatonin,
Yeah.
which we know is the sleep, quote unquote, sleep hormone. So infrared radiation actually increases melatonin production, extrapineal melatonin production, which helps sleep. So to the extent that that happens, it's relaxing, right? And you're
Right.
increasing melatonin. You should sleep better that night.
Hmm. Okay, that's good. Thank you for clearing that up because I know some people are like, "Oh, don't do it, before bed." But yeah, that does make sense. So that's do you have like a typical like routine that you follow every single day or you recommend beginners to follow? And is it like the more you use it, the better? Should you do it like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes or longer?
No, so there is this concept of the biphasic dose response, and more isn't necessarily better. So as far as when to do it, to me, anytime that the sun is above the horizon, you would be getting infrared. So if you want to use nature as a guide, I think anytime during the day is fine. I
That's
do
good.
think, potentially in the evening, again, some people love using the pod in the evening pre-bed, but again, you're not getting it into your eyes, right? So that may be why it's not having a stimulatory like wakefulness effect. I think generally speaking, during the day is better. I use it in the morning at home usually, because again, it helps me wake up. Although I'm very fortunate, I live in Arizona, like and
Yeah.
the sun's almost always out, so I can go get
Yes, it
sunlight
is.
also early morning
Right.
and get that to wake me up as well. And then I do like to do it in the afternoon or right around noon, but that's mainly because I have a narrow band UVB light too that I use for vitamin D. And I, again, using nature as a guide, I like to use that product at noon when my body would normally be getting UVB light. And
Okay.
so I like to do the red light bed and then the UVB product immediately after it,
That's
at
cool.
noon. So that's my personal, routine.
That's good. I have not heard that before, so I'm gonna have to look into doing that one. Add that to my stack. That's amazing. So then and then evenings, anything else different that you do, or you already mentioned that one?
Uh, well, I occasionally the pod or the portable, like
Okay.
if I haven't gotten my session in and I still wanna try to get some infrared into my body, like, and I'm
Yeah,
multitasking, that's usually what
that's
I'll do.
good. Okay, awesome. So then can you tell me for some of the stuff that I do, is it okay or to use it in the sauna or don't?
So, oh boy, I'm going to be unpopular,
It's
by
okay.
saying not to do it in the sauna,
Okay.
and so there, I just so one of there's 2 reasons. One is, now I don't know what light you have in the sauna, but usually the sauna lights, like, they're solving for the heat,
Mm,
and there's always trade-offs, in engineering trade-offs, and when they solve for the heat, the power is gonna be lower. Also, just, by the nature of the fact that you're sitting, your knees and your lower legs are going to be closer to the light than your face. And so you're not going to get kind of an equal dose to your body. That's another reason I don't like doing it in the sauna. Usually the lights are lower quality and then you're not, I'm a red light purist. So I'm like, just take the 10 minutes and
right.
do it properly, And so the third reason, and this is a little bit more controversial, is, you know, uh, the sauna, part of the reason the sauna is beneficial is it is a stressor. You're stressing the body, heat shock proteins. You're forcing the body to actively cool itself. It is good, in terms of raising your heart rate, improving circulation without even having to exercise. Right? It's kind of like exercise without exercise. So those are all great, but it is a stressor, and so is red light. And so there is this thought that maybe, stacking the stressors, that you may have too much stress to the body and
It's
you might not
true.
get as much of a net benefit. So
That's a good
there's
point.
that side of it too. And so between those three things, I would just, I guess, if you can spare 20 minutes for the sauna, you could probably squeeze in another 10 to do red light separately. It would kind of be,
Right.
or maybe, if it takes time for the sauna to heat up, do the red light before you get in.
Okay.
That's your 30-minute kind of stack.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect. Yeah, I will definitely make that tweak, and yeah, I sometimes I do notice that too much of the stressors and, like, then I won't even be able to sleep that night too, and I'm like, "What disrupted my sleep?" And, like, so that could be something like that, even though it's, like, a good stressor, but it might have been too much.
Right, this is the lesson I learned the hard way with cold exposure. It's good, but, like, you have to listen to your body, and if you're just not feeling good, it's probably not a good idea to stress your body with the cold, and so, like, it's like you wanna just, like, check the box on your biohacking checklist for the day, but, like, maybe you should just skip it that day because it's gonna be a little bit too much, like, actually listen to your body. Same type of thing, I get that we wanna do all these things and they are beneficial, but maybe it's better to kind of separate them.
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that advice because I'm definitely one to be like, "No, just I'm gonna power through and do it, and gotta check what" like, do the checklist and get the things done, and so I know a lot of the biohackers in the industry too are very, similar. Sometimes it's like you're either type A or perfectionist and, like, really wanna make sure we optimize everything, so listen to the body is such good wisdom. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. We did have a question from one of our members inside Life Network, and she said, I have a Mito red light device and I love it. My question for Scott is, has he found red light therapy helpful for people with inner ear issues? And secondly, does Mito ever plan to carry an inner ear red light device?
That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
um, I can say that we're launching a white light for the for the ear but that's
Okay.
mostly for jet lag. There's actually some interesting data on getting light into the ears as a way of getting it to the brain as far as kind of resetting your circadian clock. So that's why we're doing that. I will say that when we have an intranasal device, which is red and blue, and
Okay.
again, the logic there is the blue is antimicrobial and the red
Hmm.
improves the immune system and circulation. So it's a good 1-2 punch in the nose, if you want to keep that area healthy. And so I have to be careful about what we say there in terms of medical claims, but the logic is there. And when my daughter had swimmer's ear, I actually had that red and blue light shining into her ear for the same logic, right? Like
Oh,
the blue is antimicrobial and the red is going to help the immune system locally and improve circulation locally. So it was an N=1, but she got over it pretty quickly.
that's
So
amazing.
I could see about potentially doing a red and blue. It would make sense for the
Hmm.
ear if it's the issue is kind of ear infections, if that's a concern.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't mention, but that, I mean, that does seem kind of like a no-brainer to add to the line, possibly Scott. I will make sure to let her know, or she'll be listening to this recording too. So, but that, yeah, that could be something really good for, yes, swimmer's ear. Like you said, you even kind of did that yourself already, but ear infections. So, because those are painful.
Yes. And they can be dangerous if left unchecked, right? So, and that's one place where, antibiotics might be a good idea because you don't want it to become a bigger problem.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Definitely don't want to. Okay, so then for just family life in general, so for people who are trying to maybe add some of these, hacks and tips and tricks into their house, is there anything that you would say to parents listening, just suggestions for them to add, like as a whole, like family environment? Like, how do you get kids on board or your spouse?
It's a great question. I would say that it's very easy to do. It takes 10 minutes and you just have to stand there. And you can multitask. We do recommend wearing the goggles. But even we design unique goggles where it lets enough visible light through where you can multitask. So if you want to be on your phone, although I don't, I would generally recommend take the 10 minutes and breathe and stay away from the devices and use it as an opportunity to reset your mind and your nervous system. But at the same time, some folks, we have very busy lives, and I get it. Maybe you want to check emails and multitask. Totally get that. So as far as getting family members on board, I would say explain kind of the overarching story that, our ancestors were outside all day long. We're deficient. It's very safe. It's very easy to do, and you can multitask if you wish. So there really is there's very limited downside. And also, it's very well documented for being beneficial for skin. So there's aesthetic benefits, but then there's also the potential sleep benefits and overall just supporting the healing of the body. And especially, obviously anybody that's listening to Life Network, like this is the audience where we're concerned about health span, we're concerned about feeling good every day. And this
Yeah.
is such an easy thing to implement to help do that.
So good. And the education behind that too. So if they do have kids in their home and just kind of explaining to them, not to the point where they're like, okay, mom, dad, stop. But yeah, just so they understand why we have to do these certain things that we do is so they will do that later on themselves too. Or maybe we'll have the vision that you've created when they're
Yeah,
adults.
I don't know. I think it's especially for the kids too. I think I was outside all the time as a kid, and my son is, we're always yelling at him to go outside,
Hmm.
and it just seems like it's a different world where,
It is.
with scheduled play dates and this type of stuff. Whereas, like, I
Hmm.
used to just have my friends ring the doorbell and tell me to come out and have a catch,
I
and
know.
so we got to get the kids back outside. Really, is what we have to
But
do.
yeah, bottom
Uh,
line.
but but the reality is the world is different, and certainly for the adults, like I do think getting a red and near-infrared light device is a good idea.
Yes. Oh my gosh, 100%. So, parents listening, add to cart. Oh man. Okay. So, Scott, I would love to kind of wrap up with our we ask a couple guest questions. Is there a belief or habit you've outgrown and that something that you're replacing it with? So, something that you've always believed and then anything that you're replacing that with. or that might have shifted your perspective?
I would say that, and this is the random one that popped into my mind, but it's timely. I would say that I used to think that you could avoid dealing with trauma, and I think that I've come to the conclusion that that's not right, and that it's
Hmm.
much better to deal with it head on rather than avoid dealing with it. And
So true.
so I'm this is we talked about my son earlier. It's been almost 10 years, and I do feel I wasn't planning on talking about this, but you asked the question, so I answered it. Like, I do feel that I've spent the better part of the last 9 years avoiding the trauma. And it's part
Hmm.
of the reason why the company's been so successful, because part of how I avoid the trauma is by working.
Working. Yeah.
And I'm getting to the point where I just feel like I haven't dealt with it, and
Hmm.
that's not serving me.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about how I should deal with it. One of the things I was thinking about doing is writing a book, actually, and just
Yeah.
explaining the experience for whoever it might help,
Right.
because it was a rough go, and I don't think anybody can actually read that and not get emotional if you if I explained in detail like what he went through. And so,
Yeah.
but like it's much easier to avoid those types of things than it is to actually do the work and dealing with them. And so that's one thing that I'm trying to change about myself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's very, very powerful. Yeah, the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I'm not sure if you've read that one,
I
but
haven't, but
yeah, so read that one if you can, especially maybe some inspiration to write that book, and I think you should because I think it would help a lot of people. But yeah, but like you said, like if you're not going to deal with it then, you will deal with it later on, and that's going to manifest somehow in your body, and it's going to be stored trauma, and then it's going to be harder to deal with later because then you're going to be dealing with extra issues on top of that. So, well, I hope you write that book. I think that would be very helpful to so many people, and I'm so glad you are on the other side of that with your son too, but then at the same time kind of learning how to process through it now in a healthy way and still have your amazing business too. So,
yes, yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Aw. Okay. Well, Scott, where can people find you, your products, Instagram, all of those things?
So, the website is mitoredlight.com, MITO, short for mitochondria, and or Instagram, Mito Red Light Official. We're pretty active on Instagram. It's fun, and and if somebody wants to send me an email, I'm Scott at mitoredlight.com. More than welcome to send me an email if you have questions. If there's anything I can do to help. I try to be very accessible. Um, it's fun, and I'm so thankful for the growth of the company, and anytime I get to engage with customers and, hear, great feedback and great stories about how our products are helping people, it's super gratifying and humbling at the same time, so, yeah, I'm here to be of service.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you started the company too to begin with. Like it was mission, and you are continuing to do that every single day. So thank you for pouring your heart and soul into that, and just for putting out amazing products in the world. And then you have your new one launching with the new face mask in November. Any other like things that you wanted to mention that we might have forgot?
We do have a skin serum coming, which I'm excited about, and, it is mindfully because 70% of our customers tell us to use the devices for skin health. 70% say general health and wellness too, which I'm always so happy to see that because that's to me, the zeitgeist is changing and people are really, uh, taking their own health into their own hands, and you know, but 70% are buying it for aesthetics, and I get it because the red light's been shown to be very good for skin. So we said, hey, we want to design a skincare product that augments the benefits of the red light. And so I spent 2 years on this. This is kind of the bottle. This is the
Oh,
actual.
pretty.
And it has methylene blue in it, which the biohackers will be familiar with, and it has other photoactive ingredients that are again meant to really augment the skin benefits of the light. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited about that.
Oh, wow.
And it's fun. It's fun to kind of because really for where we stand, it's what can we do to improve our customer experience? And obviously, if there's anything we can do to help the devices have more benefit,
For
then that would
sure.
be customer experience. And so,
Why not?
Skin Sharon is our first foray into that, and I'm very excited about the formulation and what it will do for people's skin.
That sounds incredible. Well, I cannot wait to see that one and try that one, and that sounds gosh, that sounds incredible. So, make sure to let us know, and we'll, make sure to announce that too on our side and, get that inside life market too, but, that sounds super powerful. So keep up the good work, and then maybe an inner ear one later on would be really cool. But
I'll put it on the list.
there you go, right? I love it. So Scott, thank you so much for being here today inside Life Network, the Life Lounge podcast. We're grateful to have your products inside our life market and just for all the work that you do in the world. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. I enjoyed speaking with you.
Appreciate it, Scott. And to everybody tuning in, make sure to share this with a friend who needs to know this, because when we grow together, we go farther. Have a good one.